Good afternoon and welcome to Office Hours. I'm BevNet Editor-in-Chief Jeff Kleinman, and today we're going to be talking about retailing. If you think about it, every purchase entails retail disruption. A bottle pulled from the cooler, an ice cream from the freezer, they cause a void at the shelf, a break in a perfect merchandising plan. But that disruption is anticipated, and the act of that disruption feeds a constantly evolving evaluation of products to determine increasing or decreasing demand. The nightly and weekly resets of categories reflect that regular post-disruption return to order, one that's constantly undertaken by vendors and store workers alike. But now we're in the era of ghost stores and senior shopping hours, of personal protective equipment and dividers at the cash register, of Zoom product pitches and chain-wide allocations. How do you create order when the world has thrown a COVID-19 sized bowling ball through your planogram so that not just short-term resets, but long-term category and product reviews, the ones that only take place once or twice a year, are completely mixed up? The entire industry is dependent on that planning cycle to determine what will happen for the year to come. Those buyer meetings that you spend thousands of dollars on in travel and hotel, the approvals that result in increased time at your co-packer to get enough of your new product into the pipeline, that money you've raised for marketing and sales efforts, they all have to wait. Maybe will even be delayed for the year because, like so many other employees, retail buyers are pretty much frozen in place, putting innovation on the back burner and hoping to fill the shelves with products that at least echo familiarity. So, what are entrepreneurial brands, and not just startups, but innovative companies of all sizes, supposed to do at a time when grocery trips are down and impulse purchasing is largely happening online? How do you start or solidify a winning partnership with a retailer when the stores are as much crisis centers as they are proving grounds? To help us figure out, we're bringing in a pair of retailing experts to join the discussion. To begin with, we welcome John Maggiore, who spent 30 years in the food business, the last 17 running a brokerage and consultancy that specializes in high growth brands like Vita Coco, Red's Burritos, and Siggy's. He's in touch with buyers across the country, either as a broker or broker manager, and he's here to paint the picture of the current retail purchasing environment. As always, we want you to join us and participate in the conversation. So please email questions to ask@BevNET.com or text them to 781-423-3520, and we'll get them on as soon as we can today. John, welcome. It's great to have you here.
Great to be here, Jeff.
So I've decided early on that we're going to use you initially as a correspondent from the on-the-ground view. So for your clients, what have the last 8 weeks been like in terms of selling in and moving product?
Well, it's been so different. I mean, what's happening is so unpredictable day to day. The buyer's job has transitioned to focus on getting product onto the shelf, which was like an afterthought in the past. It was just something that just happened. Now all of a sudden they're a lot more engrossed into it. So it's a whole domino effect of what's gone on with buyers not being in the office. But I tell people, even if they were in the office, they wouldn't have time to meet with vendors anyway. So it's a different way of life for them. There's so much different things happening unordinary. So what's really happening out there is the buyers are doing their best they can to look at new items, but they know that the resets have been changed. They know that the model is going to be different for the back half of 2020, unlike it's ever been before. and they're going to do the best they can to get the best optimum product out there on the shelf for their consumers. Nobody knows when the end date's going to be, when the transition's officially going to happen. Some chains have gone back to start doing resets again. Others still have them on hold. Certain chains will be pushing them back, but it's also going to be a juggling effect because some categories need to be reset at certain times. You take the soup category or the baking needs category. You can't push those resets off until December or January because they need to be done before the season. So it's probably going to mean that some retailers are going to be juggling up their reset schedules to get the key commodity categories done at the right time.
Weren't there a lot of categories that had already slowed their reviews even before this hit?
Yeah, many chains have gone to basically reviewing categories once a year, except for a few of the high volume, high turnover categories, such as yogurt or nutrition bars and things like that. So in some cases, if category reviews get canceled, basically it could be 2 years between reviews or with some of the retailers. And that's a fact of life. I mean, the buyers, their hands are going to be tied because there's only so many resources they can put towards the resets.
So let's talk about resets for a minute. What's going on in the stores on like a nightly or a weekly basis, and what's the significance of that in the marketplace?
Now, I'm sure everybody's been in stores. You've seen the stores have been, honestly, they're a mess because they've gone through so much product. So, tags are missing, things, planogram integrity is not what it once was in probably any store. Guys are just trying to fill up the shelves with any product that they get coming in. So the reset's going to definitely take some time to get done. And the stores have to get back straightened out. So that's what the buyers are really going to be focused on first. And so typically with resets, you've got, three different types. You got like a full category review, category reset. You've got one that's like an adjustment, and then you've got like a pull and plug. So the first one, the major reset, where the buyer category manager really digs into the numbers, decides what the best items are, what the optimum set is, and they recreate the planogram from scratch. In many cases, those are going to get canceled, or they're going to get changed to be like an adjustment. What's an adjustment? Kind of what it says. We can bring in some new brands, we can bring in some new items, but we're not going to reinvent the wheel there into the section. And I think that's where most of the categories are going to be, probably for at least the back half of 2020 or even into early 2021. And then the pull and plug is just a simple one, and it typically is they don't really take in any new brands. It's basically existing brands changing up flavors. You might take the banana flavor out and put the strawberry flavor in. That's typically what a pull and plug is. So that's really what's happening now is with the reset schedules getting pushed or delayed. They're going to be trying to cram more in towards the end of the year. And they're going to have to downplay them into mostly adjustments and pull and plugs.
Brands that we're expecting to be cut in, are there any reductions in those kinds of situations?
I don't think so. I mean, if you got the green light from your buyer category manager that you were going in and setting the items up, um, chances are you're going to be delayed if you're not already have been delayed. But for the most part, I believe you're going to get into the set. It's just going to take a little bit more time if you've already gotten the official word. If you've had a meeting and it went very well and you're very confident, but they didn't make final decisions, then you might still be up in the air. It's going to depend on a lot of different factors out there.
Is there anyone who's tracking sort of the broad set of retailers who are doing category reviews and resets for up-to-date information?
Well, it's a very fluid situation. I know up here, Stop and Shop has transitioned. They're doing their resets at night. I think Whole Foods is doing the same thing. So they're kind of trying to keep to the schedule. But then there's a question about how much is really getting done. How efficient have they been? Are they going to have to go back and kind of fix these up later on down the line? But most retailers have kind of pushed them off, and there hasn't really been a set of like when it's kind of going to go live back, turn them back on.
Are there any opportunities that you're seeing that are being created with the change in reset timing?
Well, I mean, not too much right now. It might be down the line where some brands